My third guy plays some games.
Alright, hi everybody, Weather Guy here, and we are back with more of the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We have finished Trial Part 3 of the Great Departed Soul, and not sure what's next, probably Trial Part 4, but we'll see. Ah, the Knight Errant himself. Terrible pop-up coming up on my screen right now. Love to see it. There we go. Oh, have you been watching from the gallery, Mr. Sholmes? I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time. You must have something important to add. Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs, as a spectator at least. Glad you've been enjoying yourself. And we're about to have Madame Tuspels join us, which is very exciting. She's great.
I have to ask. What on earth is going on? It makes no sense. What's his professor business all about?
Dude, I feel ya.
He doesn't look like any professor I've ever met before. Who is he?
Ah, of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. Yes, the professor... When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, a sense of foreboding stirred within me. But who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? My heartfelt sympathies. As it turns out, Lord Van Zeeks is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realize, isn't he? Yes, how true. His great friend from university in the dock. And now, a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance too. I imagine even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow, to throw that in front of the man. Make it sound deliberate. Can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling. Oh yes, in one particular manner. I mean, this professor case is basically sounds like the Hound of the Baskervilles thing too, which is very significant to the overarching plot of these two games, because it came up in the first game but wasn't entirely fleshed out. But then we had the issues with the dog collar and stuff that the professor apparently used for the murder, so seems to be connected. I guess we have to find out where actually Baskerville comes into this, right? Well, there's Mr. Trevor, Dr. Scythe, and Lord Van Zeeks. Seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow.
Yes. In fact, I had known and not a member of the set. Though that leaves me as empty as set. I was with no intersection to any other.
Who's this? Madame Tuspels? No, it's Dr. Scythe. Ugh.
Blech.
Dr. Scythe. Ah, Dr. Courtney Scythe, née Stevens. Good day to you. Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you. What in particular, pray? You requested that 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you? Why would you assume such a thing? Because Gregson told me. To think it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory, wielding my scalpel. I smell of nothing but corpses and disinfectant. Policemen on the jury had a lot to say about you as it happens, Dr. Scythe. And I've accused you of being complicit in what happened, hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That certainly won't be possible. Lord Van Zeeks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. Interesting. Lord Strongheart? The Pandora's box you were warned about, it is the professor's case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. But attempting to hide from the truth, that's cowardice. I have always fought crime in the way that I see fit. I have no regrets, none at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you. Hater. Evil. She mentioned it too. This Pandora's box. Whatever does it all mean? There's really no cause for concern, I assure you. When the trial resumes, the meaning will become all too apparent whether you'd like it or not. Hate to hear that. Now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits. I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much. Ah, yes, one word of warning before I go. If, in the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive even shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. Notice that phrasing there about the dog. Very intriguing. To the bitter end, you understand. Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. Very foreboding before this next phase of the trial. Very, very foreboding indeed. Good, I shall make myself scarce then. Or scarce. I purchased a bar of caramel earlier. I shall be knowing. I shall be. It's like frickin' what's his name? Oh no, don't forget his name. Don't forget his name, not right now. Burt Reynolds? Not Burt Reynolds. Sean Connery. Sean Connery is who I'm thinking of. It's like Sean Connery trying to talk. Look at that Sholmes caramel as well. What did that warning from Mr. Sholmes really mean, I wonder? Especially the bit about whatever may come to pass. Yeah, this is about to get hairy. For sure. It's time for the final chapter then. Chapter 3 of 5 of this game. Time to find the truth, no matter what. We'll see, we'll see. This does seem like it's going to be the longest case in this game. It's a long case, but I don't know. I think it's maybe the second longest case I've done so far, apart from the final case of the first game. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready and able to continue? The prosecution is ready, my lord. Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready. As the court is aware, the case under our scrutiny began with a damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. Yet we now find ourselves embroiled in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. This trial has certainly defied all expectation. As seems to be the fate of all trials in which this Nipponese is involved, my lord. Yet we always come to the truth, seemingly, except for the McGildy case. Let us begin our exploration of the defense's assertion that the waxwork was cardinally involved in this matter. Lord Benziques. My lord. Are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Tuspels? Not at all. She is in the antechamber as we speak and ready to be summoned. Very well. Bring in the witness. At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Tuspels to the stand, sorry. Oh, we got the rotating camera. Ooh, that's sick. Things are about to become a lot more intense. Trevor is responsible, as I'm sure he is. It means he must have had an accomplice, Dr. Scythe. And what connects the pair of them is the waxwork. Yes, the model of the professor. We need to get that helmet off of it. That's the key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals. Continuous link, admittedly, but at present it's all we have to go on. Oh, that's sick. She's talented. State your name and occupation for the court, please. My name is Madame Esmeralda Tuspels. I am a waxwork artisan, and the proprietress of the Madame Tuspels Museum of Waxwork. You will have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon. Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he? Now there are 2 of them in the world. Oh my, what expression is she carving onto that face? And we also have to figure out what's going to happen with Kazuma in the rest of this game. Like, what's the deal with that, you know? A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this? Oui, that is true. At first we believed it had been kidnapped. Waxwork model kidnapped? Yes, my lord, there was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I have just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. I understand it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim?
At present, that is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense. This is the victim of the case in question, Mr. Odie Asman.
But of course I know him well. He is a part of my odious personages exhibit. I detest to say what is evident, but Mr. Asman does not resemble the professor at all. Yes, but perhaps our faces are very similar. Are you suggesting that we should see now the demasked visage of the professor? I have here the key, but it is strictly forbidden to open the lock.
This is absurd.
Pardon?
I don't know what face you've carved onto your fancy figure beneath that mask, but clearly it won't be that of the actual killer.
Indeed. The man's identity was never made public, after all.
The trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There is no possible way that a repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hands on that information.
Well, Dimash,
I don't know what that means.
it would seem you are unaware of the Dispel's principles.
What principles?
The family Dispels has always prided itself on sculpting its models a la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity, and voila, our principles. There's a well-known legend about the Dispel's waxworks from the time of the French Revolution. A member of the Dispel's family is said to have made a waxwork of the queen who was executed. Oui, that is true. It was a century ago now. I believe the queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually at the guillotine site. You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. We Dispels will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects.
Dear me. Somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose.
It is the only way to obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subject. And it has been my family's secret for generations. Do you mean to say that, beneath that mask, oui, the true visage of the killer is there?
This is ludicrous. It's out of the question.
The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Dispel's special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer, emerging from his own grave, it is a sight to behold. You should come.
I think, madam, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on this matter. You will explain every detail of this macabre model and your professional involvement in its creation.
With pleasure.
I can't wait to see the face of this waxwork. Holy moly. I really want to see it.
The special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse in accordance with Dispel's family principles. I enlisted the aid of the gravedigger and created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night. As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered.
Interesting. So maybe she was there when the person woke up.
The gravedigger, the man sanctioned this.
Oui, I will do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew. Only the gravedigger. What harm did it do, huh?
So you truly saw it. The face of that monster. Yeah, again, it killed his brother.
Naturally, I was aware at the time that his identity was a secret. But Dispels would not be Dispels if we did not insist on absolute fidelity to our sculptures.
I don't believe this.
I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museum, madam. A truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave.
The scene it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from the time.
Oh, we want to see this. Evidence time.
Special exhibit was based upon the picture in this article. It was the most detailed account of what happened, as reported by the eyewitness who saw it.
We have to remember that the witness is Drebber. This whole exhibit is based on Drebber's accountants of what happened. And we know that Drebber is a butthole swindler, right? So this very well could not be the actual scene. Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words.
The public enjoy absurdity, monsieur. That is why I have reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum.
And it's a waxwork from that exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident at the Great Exhibition, wasn't it?
That is correct. The professor you see before you here.
Most puzzling. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Scythe. There has to be some reason for that, which hasn't yet come to light. But I'll find it. I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Scythe and Drebber were in on this crime together.
Let's go. Time for some pressing on the lovely Madame Tuspels.
Hold it!
That rumor would be a 10-year-old tale now, but one that no Londoner would ever forget.
Alright, I know just what you're talking about, I think.
Of course, it couldn't be anything else.
Yes, that story will never disappear.
The tale of the condemned killer rising from the dead. That is the central attraction of my house of horrors. The rumor was whispered all over the city, and it was like this.
Oh.
It was in Lowgate Cemetery behind the prison, in the dead of night after the execution of the killer. The interred professor slid back the stone slab covering his tomb and emerged from his grave. A young man who witnessed this felt a scream welling up inside him. But an instant later, he heard an ear-splitting gunshot from over his shoulder. The bullet struck the emerging corpse, and he fell motionless once more. The scream finally found its way from the mouth of the young witness, who turned and ran for his life.
That is very curious. That is incredibly curious. The reason why this is curious is that this professor, whoever that it's depicting, likely broke his neck during the hanging. And now we learn that he also had a bullet hole to the chest. And both of those injuries resemble exactly the injuries that Asman had, which is very curious. What if that's Asman's twin? But if that's the case, how would the body... then Asman would have lived. And this would be his twin that they're just using now as a body. That'd be such a crazy twist, though. I don't think that's the case. And they already said that they don't look alike, so...
The corpse climbed out of his own grave?
We already know this.
And somebody shot him?
We didn't know that.
But who was it? Nobody knows, even today.
Definitely Van Zieks.
But remember, it was just a rumor. Perhaps nothing more than a ghost story. The good people of London, they love stories like this. That is why it was in every newspaper across the capital. But was it just a story? I mean, this is exactly the scene that can be seen today at your museum, isn't it? The special exhibit was modeled on that very illustration. For a while afterwards, the contents of that article were reproduced in every newspaper imaginable. Madam, might I say something? Please go ahead, mademoiselle. When something is described as a rumor, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's entirely made up. I believe that often rumors contain elements of the truth. Ah, I see that people from the East can be just as astute as the people of Europe. Can we be sure, for instance, that the professor's execution was successful?
Yeah, that's a great point. It could have literally been that he wasn't dead and that the coroner, who we know is sketchy, pronounced him dead.
It is not possible for the dead to come back to life. Sorry? 10 years ago, I was there in Lowgate Cemetery, after the criminal known as the Professor was killed by hanging.
That's right, she saw the body and did the wax impression.
I took a wax impression of his visage from the corpse just before it was interred. So I can assure you, the man was dead.
See.
It would certainly appear that the condemned man suffered the intended fate.
Interesting. Continue on this point now.
Is that true of every waxwork in your museum, then? It is, assuming the subject is dead, of course. Live subjects have to cooperate in a similar way. I have letters from imprisoned criminals all the time, you know.
What sort of letters?
When my time comes, please make a waxwork of me.
No.
My museum is famous, monsieur. To be made into a waxwork is an honor, and for some criminals, a symbol of status, even. Because nothing says hardened criminal better than wax. And it is thanks to one killer in particular that my museum has gained such popularity in London. I refer to the star of the special exhibit, of course, the Professor.
Whose form you claim to have captured by taking an impression from the actual corpse?
There are no exceptions to the principles of Tespels.
Very curious.
Hold it!
Surely that's illegal, isn't it?
It would seem the proprietress of this repository of novelties was blinded by monetary greed.
It had nothing to do with money. The man is part of London's criminal history. That is why I had to sculpt him, to record this history. It is the raison d'etre of the Tuspels Museum. But if the man was convicted in a closed court and sent for immediate execution, then surely nobody but the members of the judiciary present know the killer's true identity. I assure you, behind that mask is hidden the true face of the Professor.
Do you realize what you're saying? The Professor's identity is a national secret.
I understand. And now that the truth about the special exhibit has been revealed, it must perhaps close.
Of course it will, as will your entire museum if you don't tread very carefully, madam.
That could be another interesting chapter in the history of my family, I think. Don't you? 10 years ago, on the night of the Professor's execution, he took a wax impression of his face from the corpse? Oui, exactamente.
I don't know if I said that right, probably not.
Hold it!
You were there longer than you expected to be. I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, the mouth of the cadaver fell open and I had some problems with the chin.
Gross.
Dare I ask? The man had been dead for a short while already, you see. His muscles were relaxing and consequently his chin would not align itself correctly.
He is definitely dead.
Oh dear, what a horrible thought. Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night, I was alone, and as a consequence, missed my preferred window of time.
What do you mean?
When I take the impression of the visage of a cadaver, I always wait until 3 hours after death. Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant? It is because of rigor mortis. A Wrigley mortis? Of course that's in her little book. It's a name given to a phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen. By approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. Then from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered. Interesting. I didn't know that. Well, that was an education, if a slightly scary one. As the Mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw.
I see. So that's why you wait.
Before that time, the mouth falls open, and it is very difficult to do my work. It's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpses. I wonder about that information the courts just heard from Madame Tuspels.
Wait and see? It must be significant. We'll wait and see. It'll probably be significant after another piece of evidence.
I think I'd rather pretend I didn't hear any of those grim details and try to figure all about it.
Let's look at this head then.
Okay. Oh. We actually have this.
Great Blaze. Charles Darwin to receive Cops Mill. Mad Sheep Rampage. Blah blah blah. Sorry, I'm looking behind the camera because that's where this part of the article is. Rang out suddenly from behind the bullet pierced the resurrected man's chest, whose breath still once more. The youth finally released a scream he had been holding and ran for his life. University student was a knocked rubber. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Thank you, madam. Please continue. Certainly. So you comprehend a little of the process now and why it took me so long that night.
Alright, well, we have 2 left. 1 left.
Hold it!
You say that dawn was approaching. What was the time of day then, approximately? Well, I could not say. But when I left the cemetery with my utensils and wax, the morning light was becoming visible.
See, this is what's curious. This is curious because how could this have all happened if she was there the entire night, right? The execution took place on 17th June, which had the earliest sunrise of that year.
It did. First light would have been at around 4:40 in the morning.
Really is early. The fact is, I had very little time, so I finished my work in a half hour. It was necessary to complete the impression and bury the body before daybreak, of course. If somebody had discovered me there, it would have been a catastrophe, so I had to hurry. Is it me, or does Mr. Sholmes seem to be taking shape more quickly now, too?
You certainly appear to go to extraordinary lengths for your work, madam.
I wonder, is what she just said particularly significant? Adam, those details about how long it took you to complete the sculpture in the early sunrise, did you include them in your testimony? I believe they may be significant. Of course, if you would like me to. You're quite right, Mr. Ryu. It is intriguing. Sunrise at 4 in the morning would be absolutely unimaginable at home, wouldn't it? It's not quite what I meant by significant.
Kindly amend your formal testimony then, madam.
With pleasure, my lord.
Okay, so let's look at this again. Dead of night. Yeah, this was...
Objection!
We were wrong. We were simply wrong. You understand my logic though, right? I guess I didn't really voice it correctly, but... didn't that occur the same night? If she was there all night, then what the heck? Let me try to see if the other thing is significant as well and add that to it.
Hold it!
So let's press through this again, and then we'll say yes at the end of this as well. Dun, 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 dun. I love the creepy witchy music. It's pretty nice. Pretty good, I must say. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, get me there. Man, I still feel like we're not quite close to the conclusion of this trial, though. It's just crazy. You know? The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us, do you mind including it in your formal testimony? I believe it could be significant, you see. Of course, I do not mind at all. Can't help feeling that after this latest topic, the atmosphere in the courtroom has become extremely grave. Terrible joke. There's no time for jokes, Mr. Sato. Alright, so we got that in there now.
Madam, kindly amend your testimony as discussed.
Very good. Very good indeed. Okay. Now, is there anything we would want to do with this happen before rigor mortis? Very curious about the camera, how that's going to come up. You know? I'm just looking at this again because I was like, what is the significance of this? I was like, what if the award was for somebody else? Yep. So I wonder if we can just try this real quick. The face, you know? Left as soon as the corpse was interred. It's gotta be one of these two, right? Surely. We tried this one. On the night of his execution. Let's try this time. Let's just try doing it on this one.
Objection!
No. Dang it. I'm struggling with this one. Alright, we're gonna try... We're gonna try again with the mask this time because it's...
Objection!
Because I don't have a good reason. Alright, let's look elsewhere in her testimony real quick. Let's look elsewhere in the testimony. Start from the beginning. Based on a rumor, yep, seems fine. Directly from the corpse. Aid of the gravedigger. Very long time before the onset of rigor mortis. Very curious. Or did she do all this the night before? Well, no, because I was... No, that's dumb. Ignore everything I just said about that. Let's try this. Because it's a mess. We want to know what...
Objection.
We're failing. We're failing. We have one failure to go. What am I missing here? Left as soon as the corpse was interred. Hmm. Am I missing anything here? I don't think I am, but let me extend it and stuff. The blood is very curious. Maybe we can ask about the blood, because it's part of her exhibit too, isn't it? Maybe that's something we can look at. This feels so wrong to do the camera on this one. But I'm gonna try it. I'm just gonna try it. For my own sanity. And it was wrong. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. I failed 2 videos in a row. I'm dying. I'm so bad. I don't understand what I'm missing. It's very upsetting to me.
Guilty. Guilty.
Yep.
Guilty.
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 Kill me.
It's fine. Nerds. Buttholes. It's fine. We'll give it another shot. We'll think of something. We'll have to press on both of those things again and get the things amended, but... Or maybe there's something I can do before saying it's significant. Right? Because then it changes it forever, so maybe I can present something before that. Something to consider, I guess. So it's this one. Very long time that night. Word you could be discovered.
Objection.
Nope. Alright. Man,
Hold it.
this is so difficult. So you remove the mask, the mouth fell open. Maybe I should look at the mask again and see if there's another thing I can do with it. I doubt it, but maybe that's what I should do. You know? This is a tough little cookie to crack right here, I must say. Yep, extremely grave. Yep. Alright, let's look again at the mask. Anything else significant? Are we missing anything? Anything around the jaw? Seemingly not. There's a lock. Hmm. Confirmed at midnight. Maybe it's the timing. You know? So he died at midnight. Doesn't give that much time. Let's try this. And I might also just work with the rigor mortis thing, right? Let's try that.
Objection!
Wow. Madam Dispels, I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago now. Confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows. And is that a problem? I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another. Are you going to explain yourself, my Nipponese friend? According to her testimony, Madame Dispels was creating her wax impression just before dawn. At that time, rigor mortis had not yet set in. Because he died at midnight. Am I correct so far, madam? You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis 2 to 3 hours after death. Yeah. And she didn't start till like 4 a.m. So he would have had to die at like 2 or 1 or 2 a.m. But the man's chin was limp, so he cannot have been dead for a long time. But on the other hand, if you look at Dr. Sei's report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th June. No. The professor indeed died at midnight that day. Then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would already have set in. Wait, yes, you are right, the chin. It would have been completely stiff. In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection!
No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The very idea is absurd. In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place at the stated time. Impossible. I guess the issue is I don't understand what the significance of that is yet, you know?
Order, counsel. This is beyond folly. Not only do you indict the author of the report, Dr. Scythe, you also implicate members of staff at Barclay Prison where the execution took place.
Objection!
I do not like that. My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact. What fact? The professor died that night, without question. He did, of course he did. I moved the man's limp jaw with my own hands. There was no... Yes, the professor died that night. What if he didn't die at the gallows? Didn't die at... Are you insane? What exactly are you suggesting did happen in that case? It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Scythe, the professor, and that one other person of interest. Maybe he didn't die at all. Maybe it's a fake body in there. I have evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night.
Counsel, present the evidence at once.
Oh God.
Take that!
Is it not in the camera?
What have we here?
Objection!
Before considering the night of the execution, I would strongly advise the defense to concentrate on what is happening. Yeah. We were wrong. It's not the camera. Well, the camera has blood and... I don't know, that's a terrible look. I need to concentrate, like they're saying. I really do. Ah. A head? Probably not. Not the explosion photograph, I don't think. Not this contract, I don't think. Oh, maybe it's this, where the guy just...
Take that!
He wasn't dead, he just got shot. Yeah, what happened right that night is written very plainly in this newspaper article. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery. You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from the dead now? Well, if this article is to be believed, yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again.
Objection!
Don't be a fool, that's simply a rumor published by the gutter press. Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? Point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened.
My word, yes indeed.
The young man who stole into the cemetery by chance that night.
Objection!
Of course there was a witness, the story didn't write itself, but obviously the man made it all up.
And in any case, this was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope of finding him.
Objection!
Yeah, we all know him. It's Drebber. What?
Are you suggesting, counsel, that you've identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen this utterly incredible event take place?
Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say that he's right here before my very eyes.
You will substantiate your latest claim now then, counsel.
I was just saying not Drebber as the witness. Before our very eyes.
Take that!
Dude, wouldn't that be crazy?
I must say I'm quite staggered by the scene I see before me now, counsel.
Terrible. Is it just... Is it just Drebber? Yeah, it does say Drebber. I need to read that article again. Oh well, I think it's just Drebber.
Take that!
The man in question is Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Drebber. The previous witness.
See, I thought it was asking for who witnessed Drebber and the corpse and the professor. I thought it was who the third person was, because we know there was a third person there because somebody shot a weapon, presumably. Special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Madame Tussauds Museum in Waxburg. Recreates that decades-old scene in great detail. The condemned criminal emerging from the grave, and beside the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. And that young man is a 10-year younger Mr. Enoch Drebber, who looks much nicer back then, and less like a crazy person.
Order, order, order. Surely not, counsel.
Drebber was there, in Lowgate Cemetery. What is all this talk about Mr. Drebber? Is the name significant? Of course, Madame Tussauds doesn't know, does she? Yes, it's extremely significant, madam. To your situation as well, in fact. What situation? The theft of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago was perpetrated by the very same man. No. But that would mean... Madame Tussauds, it would appear you know the name Enoch Drebber. Yes, I know it. But from long ago in the past. What? Oh my.
Good gracious.
Explain yourself. Tell us everything you know.
Yes, of course. The story of the young man and the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago was published in every single newspaper in London and throughout Great Britain. However, in all of the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never revealed. That is, apart from in one newspaper, the Daily Circus. It is the paper from which comes the article I have already shown the court. You're saying that his full name was only publicized in that article?
Goodness me, yes, here it is. The university student who experienced this shocking event is Mr. Enoch Trevor, a disciple of science at the University of London and a resident of its student dorms.
Unbelievable. You already knew this. When I read the article, I went to meet with the man. His discovery of the condemned criminal coming back to life in the cemetery in the dead of night would make a perfect exhibit for my house of horrors, whether it was the truth or not.
I see, so you went to meet Mr. Trevor in order to sculpt the waxwork of the man, did you?
Exactamente. He was studying science at the University of London in those days. He was just a poor student. Paid him £5 to model for the waxwork, and since that time it has been in my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery. Great. We already knew all this. Everybody's so surprised. I guess maybe there's a way where this happens where you don't already know this, you know? So, 10 years ago, a young man appealed to the public about an extraordinary event he'd witnessed. A criminal who had been put to death, re-emerging from his grave in the middle of the night. The public treated his claim as nothing more than an amusing anecdote. That was soon forgotten. 10 years later, the same man steals a waxwork model of the executed criminal, ostensibly to use as a body double for the victim in the case we're discussing here today, even though the waxwork build is a poor match for the victim, and its face is obscured by a mask. So the question is, why would the man do such a thing? Which brings us to 3 days ago, when the birdcage crashed into the Crystal Tower. The birdcage had in fact contained not the body of Mr. Asman, but that same waxwork. A coroner from Scotland Yard who investigated Dr. Scythe would have noticed immediately. And yet, she has submitted this autopsy report for the victim, which the court has seen earlier. Why? Because the waxwork was that of the professor. Is that what you're saying? Dr. Scythe put her name to a document confirming the death of a condemned criminal who was still alive. A criminal whose apparent resurrection was witnessed by Mr. Trevor. That misconduct was a deadly secret the coroner would do anything to protect. Which is precisely why Mr. Trevor used that particular waxwork as the body double. Ah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I still don't understand why Dr. Scythe would have done that all that long ago, though. My lord, this court must summon Dr. Scythe to the stand. The defense is determined to find out exactly how the coroner and Mr. Trevor are connected.
According to the missive I received this morning through the prosecutor's office, Dr. Scythe is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case?
Come on, Van Zieks. Pull through, bud. She told us so herself, didn't she? Yeah, Lord Strongheart is definitely still sus as well. Something happened on the night of that killer's execution 10 years ago. Surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of that more than Lord Van Zieks. Oh, very interesting. He's so conflicted. Look at him. The prosecution calls for the instructions in that missive to be scrapped. Let's fucking go. Yeah.
But Lord Van Zieks, the missive was issued from the Lord Chief Justice's office.
Objection!
Lord Van Zieks is our god now, man. He's the best. The assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial. In other words, Me.
Yes.
Let Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe both take the stand together. Let's go. This is so sick.
Very well, I will uphold your request. Bailiffs in a subpoena with immediate effect addressed to Dr. Scythe of the Forensic Investigation Team. The woman is compelled to attend on Her Majesty's orders.
Alright then, Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe. They weren't colluding with one another. This crime could never have been committed. Just a stone's throw away, I can feel it. The truth behind all of this is about to come out.
Let's go, man. Alright, this is where we're going to stop today. Got all three of them on the stand. Let's go. Yes, next time we're going to have another bout of cross-examination. We might conclude this trial, actually. I don't know. We'll see. But things are looking up, at least, I think. I think things are going in a positive direction for Team Ryu and Team Sasato. So that's great. Very curious still about other twists that are coming, because this case is very complex. I think it might be the most complex case we've had apart from the final case of the first game. That one was very complex with the different discs and things and lots of witnesses and craziness. But that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you take care of yourselves. Make sure that you take care of others. And I will see you next time. Peace out.